Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a classic from the 80s, The Power of Love and Back to the Future by Huey Lewis and the News. So this one, it's got some fun guitar parts in it actually. It's just got a nice kind of riff that's not very hard to play, but kind of really catchy. Can't help but smile listening to that. And then we got this really cool kind of funky clean guitar stuff going on during the verse sections, which I'll kind of cover through. It's really cool, kind of based around a lot of triads. It's really interesting. And then we got a really cool solo from Chris Hayes as well. So I'm going to cover the whole song here for you, note for note. Before I get into it, though, please subscribe to the channel so you'll know when I release a new video, so you can like and comment and all that good stuff. And please, if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube with all these free song lessons weekly, join my Guitar Academy. It's the only way I can keep going. So my Guitar Academy, you'll see a link in the description below. That'll give you a free 7-day trial, by the way, to it. My Guitar Academy, if you don't know already, it contains all my guitar courses, covering everything from complete beginner courses to more advanced courses in technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, you name it. So there's a lot of stuff over there, and you do get personalized support from me as well. So like I said, you get access to all my Academy, and it's a great way to support what I do here. All right, so let's jump into the track. I'm in standard tuning, and we're going to start with this riff that goes with a chord. I'm sorry, let's not turn it into a Slayer song. All right, so we have this C power chord. That's the 3rd fret on the A, 5th on the D. Hit like 3 times. And then we go to a low E power chord, so an open E string, and the 2nd fret on the A. Now you're gonna hit that one 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a little bit odd feeling until you kind of get the hang of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we go to the F power chord, which is this 1st fret on the low E, 3rd fret on the A. Hit that 3 times as well, and then move that up to the G power chord up, so you move up to the 3rd fret. So it's so you hit that G power chord 3 times as well, and then we're gonna do this. So this is kind of a G power chord into a C. It's a G power chord inverse inversion though. It's power chord meaning it's really kind of implying a G major chord because it's got a 3rd in it. But we have the 2nd fret there on the A string and that 5th fret on the D. So we have this, hit that twice, and then that takes us back to the beginning of that C chord. Just move that finger up to the 3rd fret there, leaving that pinky where it's at, and then you're at the point you can just start over what you've done already. So we have this. And kind of the 3rd time through, kind of stop on the G, we'll just hit it a couple times and stop. And then we get to the clean guitar section. So what I'm doing here, go into a clean sound, obviously, and switch into the neck pickup. Give it a little bit of a more kind of that. I think it sounds good on the neck pickup. All right, so what are we doing at this part? So what we do first is we're gonna start. First, you want to bar your index finger across the 3rd fret, at least these top 5 strings, across to the A string. And the first thing you hear is a kind of a muted C power chord. So you play that 3rd fret on the A, 5th on the D and the G. Like that. Kind of just palm muted. And then we start the little moving lines there. So that's going to start first. You can pick up the muting now. We have the 5th fret on the D and the G first. Pick those up. Remember, you're still doing the bar. So now you play the 3rd fret on the D and the G. So down to the 3rd fret and then back to the 5s. And then we go to some triads. We're going to first start with this E flat major triad. So you're still doing the bar at the 3rd fret. We are now adding the 5th fret on the D and the 3rd fret on the B. sorry, 4th fret on the B. And you're still holding that 3rd fret with the bar, so that G and that 3rd fret on the G is being played as well. So you're just hitting the strings D, G, and the B. So this shows 3 strings. It's going to give you an E flat major chord, and then what you're going to do is pick up those 2 fingers there, so you still have the bar. Now you're going to play those same 3 strings, the D, G, the B, which is just that bar, which is going to be a B flat major chord, and then back to the E flat major. So we have this. Slower. And then we're going to take this up 2 frets to an E major chord. I'm sorry, an F major chord, sorry. So it is. So play that a couple times. So it is. So a couple times on the F, and then jump back here. You go back to the E flat, to the B flat, and then you kind of hit like just the bottom note, that C, on the A string just once, and then those 2 5s on the D and the G. So we have this. So all together. All right, so that's kind of the main riff, and then there's just a lot of different endings to it. So we have this first, play that riff. Then you start the riff again. And this time when you get to the F, instead of going after it as the ending, there's a different ending. So you get to that F, you hit that a couple times, and then go. You come up here and grab this B flat major chord up here, which is at the 8th fret on the D, 7th on the G, 6th on the B, and then back to that F. So basically the second time through we have that different ending. And then here's when the vocals come in. So we have this so far without the vocals. All right, so now we have the vocals come in, and then we have basically the same riff, but the second time through, we're going to have a different ending each time. So we have this. All right, so right there was a different ending. So it's like basically the riff, I look at the riff as playing it through twice. Sorry, let's keep hitting the C. So that's the normal ending. Then the second time through, it's the first ending. So that's a different ending. And then we play all that again, but we're going to be replacing this with something different each time. So now the second time through, right when the vocals come in, next ending, we have, and that ending right there was just basically going back, playing that E flat once, the B flat once. So the 2 chords that we were doing down there, just play the top one once, then the B flat, and then start the riff over again. And we have this, so the third time through, we have the same ending that we had the first time. So we have this. Right here. Okay, so we do that. So far we have this. All the vocals come in. And then there's an instrumental version of the riff where we just basically add, after we did this, he stops singing and they just do an instrumental version of the riff, which is basically the second half of it where we have a new ending again. And that was just the same riff. Just get up to that F, hit it twice, and then pause and go. hit it 2 more times. So, and then we start the vocals come back through again. Now this time, he plays the riff like we did the first half of the, with this ending. He actually does that ending 2 times in a row now, so wait this. All right, and then we get towards the end of this verse, which looks like this. And there's a little different ending. So we start the riff again, up to that F, and then we come down here and do this. So what we play here is that E flat triad twice, and then what you're going to do is go to an F power chord. So it's going to be the 3rd fret on the D, 5th on the G, 6th on the B. So wait this. And then that B triad there, the 3rd fret across the D, G, and the B. So wait this. That's the quick little ending they do before they go back to the chorus. So this whole thing, so when the clean guitar part comes, remember the first time you play through the riff. So remember the riff is, you're really hearing that riff 2 times through, but that second time through, there's always a different ending usually. So I consider that 2 times through as actually being 1 time through. So I can just think of them as different endings each time. So the first time through, there is no vocals, and then we hear vocals. So all the way through, starting the clean guitar section all the way to the chorus, looks like this. All right, so we're just gonna jump to that little, actually I might have skipped one. So I might have cut it short there at the very end, but it's the same riff just over and over again, no how many times you play it. But that little ending is what I want to kind of make you understand. And that's what's important. But I think you still play the riff the same amount of normal times. And then we get to the same chorus riff again. So just, but it's actually not quite the same. The ending's a little bit different. So like this. All right, so we basically have the same chorus riff. Kind of done 3 times. The 3rd time through, when you get to the G, you're gonna hit the G a few more times. Hit that 4 times, then the open A string. And then you go from there to a B flat power chord. Just the 1st fret on the A string, 3rd on the D, and 3rd on the G. Down to just everything down to the 6th fret now, so a 6th string, I'm sorry. So the F power chord, and then up to the G, like the 3rd fret. It's the power of love. All right, then we get back to the clean verse again. So this one's a little bit shorter. We just basically start the same way. Sorry, get back to it. All right, so that's kind of how that ending kind of is that length. So basically it's half as long as the first verse. So the same riff. So this first ending here, remember the first ending is the second time through the riff, okay? So we have that saying that B flat to the F. And then we have the riff played with that normal ending, basically played the same way twice. So just like you do the first time through the riff, do this exact same thing the second. All right, and now we do the riff one more time and we put that same ending in it heading into the chorus. All right, and that takes us to the same chorus that we did before with that kind of B flat, F ending, F, G ending. And then from there, out of that second chorus, we get to the bridge section. Now this bridge section, there's some synth parts in there too. So there's a little bit of guitar in there, but it's not always very apparent what's going on the guitar. So what I'm trying to do here is kind of play, I think kind of similar to what the guitarist is doing, but I'm listening really closely to the synth parts too, to get some of those notes too, because it makes it sound more like the original recording. So anyway, so we're going to try to play them all on the guitar. So you can't really get up close video of what they're decided to do in the guitar here. So like I said, I'm really relying on those synth chords more than anything. So let's check out the chords. All right, so kind of basing these pretty much all off the top 4 strings. So we're going to start with this E flat major again. So we kind of did that before, but we're going to add that high E string in there as well now too. And then from there, we're just going to go to a G major chord. So I could just leave that bar there at the 3rd fret still, but I'm going to be playing the 4th fret on the B string, 5th fret on the D. So I have this. Now from there, I kind of see this as really, we could play it the same way, this E flat major. It feels more like a C minor 7 to me, but it's kind of played the same way. It's got a different root there. It's just an upper part of the C minor 7 chord. So it's just back to the same chord. So we have this. So you can add that now C on maybe on the A string to give it a C minor 7 sound. So we have this E flat major with G in the bass. Or you can add that E flat if you want. Then it goes to an F7. And I was originally kind of voicing that, just kind of, but just hear this higher voicing of this E flat in there, the 7th. So I'm just going to play it like this. We have F on the 3rd fret on the D string, the F note, and then the 2nd fret on the G, and then the 4th fret there on the B. So we have this. All right, from there we're going to go move up here. So it's the same chord we did here at the 3rd fret for the G. Just move it up a fret to an A flat major. Just play on those top 4 strings. Then back to the. From the A flat, then back down to the E flat, and then back to the A flat, and then here. I'm sorry. A flat major first, then the E flat, and then when you go back to the A flat, we're going to make it an A flat major 7. So that's 6 on the D string, 5 on the G, 4 on the B, 3 on the high E. And then back to the E flat major again. So we have this, the A flat major to E flat, then A flat major 7, to the E flat. And then from there, we're going to go to a C minor chord. So this is going to be the 5th fret on the D and the G, 4th fret on the B. And then from here, we're going to do the ending. We're going to pick up this note here on the B string. You still keep those 5s here on the D and the G, but you're going to add the 3rd fret there on the B and the high E. So hit that. It makes a G sus4 chord. Hit that 4 times and then resolve it to a G major by just now playing the 4th fret on the G instead of the 5th. To the power of love. All right, so from there, so basically, let me play through all that again. That's the whole bridge. So we had this. All right, so then we get back to that same, the clean riff again, played 3 times, just with that little. Just the normal ending. Sorry. And then the 3rd time through, just that E flat, B flat done once. So just kind of this is kind of leading into the solo. So we have this. All right, now underneath the solo, which is basically a muted version of the verse, that clean riff that we've done. So that's really all that's going on. And then we have Chris Hayes' part, though, for the solo here. So let me play through the solo for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. All right, so kind of a slightly distorted, it doesn't have a lot of gain on this. So we're going to start with this. So that's going to start with a bend at the 13th fret there on the high E string. Let that ring. Now bend again on the 13 and release the bend. Down to 11 on the high E. Down to 13 on the B. And then you're going to come down here to the 8th fret there on the D string and hammer 8 to 10 real quick. So we have this so far. All right, and then we have this next phrase. So that's going to be starting with that 8th fret to 10 hammer real quick. Then play 8 on the D. Then 10, 9, 8 on the A. Shift down to the 6th fret there on the A. And it's a kind of little half step bend and release on the 8th fret. Down to 6. Over to 8 on the low E string. So with this. So far. All right, from here we have this. All right, so that's going to start in kind of on the 6th fret here on the low E string. So we play 6, 8. and then 6/8 on the A string, slide up to 10. Then play 8/10 on the D, then 8/10 on the G, into a bend at that 8th fret on the, the 10th fret on the G. So here it is. So when you do that bend, you play that, go over and play the 8th fret on the B string, bend and release the 10th fret on the G, down to 8 on the G, down to 10 on the D. So this. So that's kind of like a response to the first one. So we have this. All right, next one looks like this. All right, so that's gonna start hammering 8 to 10 on the D, over to 8 on the G, into a bend there at the 10th fret on the G string, and then we have this. So we're gonna, halfway with this, play 8 on the B, roll over to the 8 on the high E string, and then play 11, 8 on the B. Then we have a bend and release at the 10th fret on the G, pull off to 8, and then over to 10 on the D, then roll back to the 10 on the G, and pull off 10, 8 on the G, and then the D. So this. I'm sorry. And then roll over to the 8th fret. Now it's kind of a 4-note descending lick. Kind of, you just got a descending 4-note licks there. From here. So you're descending 4 notes from this 10. So pull off 10, 8, 10, 8, and then 10, 8 on the D. Then we're going to be 4 notes down from this one. Just sticking with the pentatonic form. So we have this 8 on the G, pull off 10, 8 on the D, over to 10 on the A string, and then 4 notes down from this, 10 on the D string. So we have 10, 8 on the D, and then 10, 8 on the A string. So we have this. And when you get to the bottom of that, you come back up chromatically. So just come back up from the 8 to 9, 10, and then 8, 10 on the D, and then 8, 10 with a bend on the G. So we have this. All right, and then the end of the solo looks like this. So we're going to start with a hammer on from 8 to 10 on the G, and then over to 8 on the B string. So then we start hitting the double stops across the 8th fret on the B and the high E, and then bend up the 10th fret there on the G. So you do that a couple times. And then back to those 8s, so it is. And then we do some double stops on the G and the B string. So that's the 10th fret there on the G and the B, down to the 8 on the G and the B, back to the 10s, kind of bend them up together, and then some people do it with one finger, just kind of pull it down to the floor. That's fine too. I like having more control of them. So we have this. So you do that 10, 8, 10, and then bend and release those 10s, back to the 8, and back to the 10. So we have this. And then we start doing a little bit quicker Johnny B. Good stuff. So that's bending at the 10th fret on the G string, and then the 8th fret on the high E and the B together a couple times. Just kind of repeating that lick. Just repeat that. And then he kind of goes back down to the double stops at the 10 on the G and the B, kind of bending them up again. 10, 8, 10, 8. And then it kind of fades out a little bit, so it's kind of hard to hear exactly what's going on in this ending. Which is, I think it's going like 10, 8 on the D, over to 10 on the A, then back 8, 10, and just kind of let that 10 ring out on the D. That's the way this. For the end of the solo there. All right, so it's actually a great solo. It's got some really cool dynamics to it and some nice blues licks. And then we get back to the chorus again, and it's just kind of an extended chorus without that B flat or G ending. So it just kind of fades out. At least that version I heard, it didn't just fade it out. So it just basically continues that portion of the riff over and over again. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is, it is the sound of the 80s, which is the greatest musical decade of all time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.